What's up, guys? Welcome to the Standing on Business podcast. This is a brand new session. This is a brand new segment we're doing here at Black Stag Industries. Just talking about business, talking about standing
I don't
on
know why I'm
business,
here.
being a business leader. I'm here with a very good friend of mine, Paul Pototsky. Paul, tell us a little bit more about yourself, what you do nowadays, where you've been located. Just give us a little more information about you.
Paul, as Ben has mentioned, I grew up in Syracuse, where we currently are. My whole life, I went to Syracuse University, got a degree in biochemistry, which turned out to be useless because I don't do that anymore. I was gonna go to medical school, took the MCAT a few times, then changed my mind, didn't want to do that anymore. Then I moved to Tennessee because why not? My brother moved there, then I just moved to be there for fun, and then we ended up starting a company that builds houses. We build single family houses from the ground up. Me and my cousin started a company, so that's what we do. It's been just over 3 years. So we build, I don't know, we probably built like maybe 30 houses at this point, varying from 1,000 to 2,000 square feet. So it's been a good journey so far.
Tell me a little bit more about that. What's it like? What made you get into that? I guess did you move down to Tennessee with that vision? How did you get into that?
Well, my cousin was in the construction business his whole life. Like his family was into it, so he was started building his own house, and he was like, I could probably do make money doing this. So he was like, let's start building houses, and I was like, I got nothing to do. Let's do it.
Sick. Tell us about that journey. Tell us about that process. How many homes are you guys building a year? What's what does that business entail?
Um, so first you got to get land, which is the hard part because it's like trying to find $1 million these days, and that doesn't exist. So once you find the land, you go through the permitting, you get all that taken care of, find money to build a house through the bank, through someone you know, whatever. Draw up a deal with somebody. Once you secure funding, then you can get the process going, get the permits going. And then once everything's ready to go, you start the process, build the house. Once it's built, um, it's time to sell. So you can either sell it by owner or sell it with an agent. We just right now we're using an agent. We sold it owner. We tried by owner a few times. We've been using an agent, so it's been working out great so far. We're building about 10 to 15 houses a year. Probably I would say we built close to 30, maybe a little bit more since the beginning. We built some duplexes, some single family houses. So far it's been a journey, but it's been great. Learning along the way. Um, no matter what you think you always learn more every day.
Tell me a little bit more about that. What do you mean by that?
Like the process of building a house, but then somebody does something that you would never have thought what anybody would ever do, and you're like, why would you do that? How do you do that? And then you have to research like, what's the proper way of doing stuff, whether it's laying tile or doing siding or following procedures of framing or whatever it is. Then you have to learn the codes because then you have to explain to them, no, this is why we do it this way because this is what the code book says, and we can't pass inspection unless it's this way. Or sometimes someone does something a different way, and you're like, oh, I actually like that way better. So it's always learning. If you always look at it like my way or the highway, then you won't get as far as you always learning, always teaching yourself, learning from those around you. Because I mean, somebody's been doing something for 20 years doesn't mean they're doing it right, but also doesn't mean they're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Well, I guess what's the biggest lesson you've learned in the last 3 years of doing this, and what has that taught you about life in general? Taught you about business?
You always have to stay on top of people because they will try to take shortcuts, no matter what it is, whether it's quality of work, whether it's getting stuff done faster. Um, People just want to get the work done and keep it moving to the next job. Um, I mean, there's a few people here and there who actually care and want to do everything right, but typically everybody just wants to get it done and keep it moving because they want to get to the next job, get things done. So you always have to tell people to slow down, do it right the first time, because the more time you don't do it right, the more time you have to come fix stuff, and the more money you're losing. So if we're preparing for a certain part of the job and we try to take a shortcut, and the next day somebody notices, your boss or your coworker or whatever, now you have to spend a whole extra day. You got to pay that person, pay the helper, pay everybody else and now delay the thing you were supposed to do just to fix it when you could have done it right the first time.
Gotcha. How many years has it been since you moved out to Tennessee? It's been a minute,
Close to 4.
close to 4. And tell me about the Paul Pototsky that left Syracuse 4 years ago and the Paul Pototsky today. Lifestyle changes. Um, I know also in terms of taking on the debt that you had as a student, kind of getting out of that, kind of working through that, creating a business. Kind of talk to me about what that process has been like, what you've learned along the way.
Well, medical or not medical school. Um, College isn't cheap, so we're still chipping away at that slowly, but we'll take care of it eventually. But it's going down, so praise God for that. And in terms of business, without starting a business, you won't learn how to do business things. So I mean, you can watch all the videos you want, but until you're in it every day, it's hard to put it to practice. It's hard to even think of like different options, different outcomes, because it never goes how you plan. You can plan something perfectly, but 4 minutes after you start, it's 180 degrees of how you planned it was going to go. So I would say the best thing you can do is just go for it, because no matter how much you plan, no matter what you do, it's not going to be the way you wanted it to be.
Gotcha.
So, and take the opportunities as they come. If you don't want to, you don't want to say no to every opportunity, but you also want to kind of evaluate: is this good for me? Will this help me? Will it not? This seemed like a good opportunity, so I took it.
How do you
If so,
make that right
if
choice?
you don't, you just pick one and go for it.
So you just have that you have to have that tenacity and boldness to just stick with your
You won't know the
decision.
outcome till you do it.
How do you know that you made the right decision, or let me ask to put it this way, how do you understand that you made the right choice or you're sticking with the right thing?
You just gotta feel it out as you go. You're like, I really don't like this, or I love this, or I wasn't expecting this to happen, but I'm okay with the way things are going. So you'll never know until you actually experience the results of your choices.
Gotcha. What is the, I guess, going along back to business side of things, how do you evaluate that a deal is good? How do you evaluate that, this is the right fit, the right project, the right, you could say, spec or blueprint for this area or home, and evaluating, the land and all of that? How do you make that decision? What kind of goes through your guys' head when you are making those plans?
First off, you have to, obviously try to make some money, because what's the point of doing it if you're not gonna make money? Second of all, it's ideal to know kind of the area you're in. If you're not from the area and you want to do some kind of out of town deal, hire a local expert or talk to a friend who lives there, or just see what where people congregate to in that situation, to know this is a good area, this is a bad area, this is an expanding area that's going to be good in 10 years. You just want to kind of do your market research of the area before you commit. I mean, if you're in a city, then typically within the within the surrounding part of that city, it'll be turn out pretty good. You got to just make sure you get the land for the right price, because then if this part of town is a little cheaper than that part of town, you don't want to pay double the price for what you should have paid. But do a little bit of market research. Talk to some agents, talk to some friends, um, talk to somebody. Chat GPT. Chat GPT can gather some great data these days. Do like a cost analysis, and then you'll know this is a good area, this is a bad area. Run your numbers for the construction. This is my material cost, this is my labor cost, this is my permitting cost. Try to see what the comps were in the area when you're selling a house. You'll be able to have a general idea. Okay, I'll make this much money, or I'll break even, or I'll lose money. Then you'll have a general idea of, we should do this, we shouldn't do this. And obviously, it doesn't always go according to plan, but at least you did your due diligence before you took on the project.
All right, Paul. So you just mentioned about using AI, using ChatGPT. I love this topic because I think a lot of times people are using or trying to use AI or online resources to replace themselves or replace a certain element. I like to think of it that AI and ChatGPT and all these resources are truly resources. They're not replacements. You still need a human element. You still need a human touch. You still need people doing the work, but it saves a lot of time. For us specifically here at Black Stag Industries, we're using AI to research hashtags, to research relevant backlinks, SEO things, help us come up with topics and different marketing topics for our clients. But we're still, at the end of the day, doing the work ourselves as a human element. From your perspective, you mentioned using ChatGPT. Can you give us a little taste on how you implement it, how you use it, how you use it as a tool, and maybe you have a different opinion than I do.
I mean, it's obviously new, so I haven't gotten into it too much in terms of construction. Because obviously construction is all hands-on labor doing stuff. But I mean, it's good for market research or writing up, you know, closing documents that can be edited later, or writing up a description for your house listing that you can just fine tune it once it's written. But obviously, it's, you can't use it to put up a wall, at least not yet. So, um, I mean, unless I create a builder GPT, we'll see. Maybe one day. Um, but yeah, it's a good resource to help you think. Like, you used to have to hire a lawyer to draft up a document that took him a week, and now you can draft it in 10 seconds and have him review it for 30 seconds, and there you go. It's good to go. So it saves everybody time. It will replace people's jobs, but it'll create new jobs in the same fashion, because you'll have to enter prompts properly. You have to, make sure it's like review the stuff that it outputs to make sure it's what you're looking for, adjust the prompts, stuff like that. But in the grand scheme of things, it's making things a lot easier for everybody. It's saving time. It's saving payroll costs. Um, it's keeping companies from having to hire a lot more people to do the same things. It's obviously gonna get more functional. You'll be able to edit videos with it soon without editors sitting there for 40 hours. It'll probably be able to export a timeline for you that you can, edit yourself versus, doing it all from scratch. So, I mean, there's plenty of stuff coming. Just like Gary Vee always says, or, talks about the tractor back in the day when 80% of the world used to be farmers. And then the tractor came out. Everybody was like, what are we going to do with our jobs? We're going to sit at home, do nothing now. But no, we created jobs to drive on the tractor. You got to maintain the tractor. Like, other jobs come with evolving technology. So it's always, it's always good to look for opportunities like that, instead of, making or looking down upon it and seeing what's wrong with it. Obviously, there's negatives to everything, but in terms of business and what it can be used for, it's always typically in the good direction.
What do you see as an evolving shift, or I guess evolution in the construction field? I know you've been in business now just for over 3 years, but in terms of the space in itself, do you see a shift, kind of more people getting into it, less people getting into it? Talking about Chattanooga as an evolving market.
I mean, Chattanooga's booming. Like, there's lots of people moving there. It's been growing crazy over the last 5 years. So you see neighborhoods, houses popping up everywhere. But you'll see that anywhere where people are moving to. So whether it's here or Chattanooga or New York City, even though the city's been around for 300 years, you still got to build more buildings. More people always come in there. So I would say it's good to keep an eye out for the people around you to see what they're doing. Um, but it's no matter where you are, no matter how it's growing, you're always going to see competition. You're always going to see people moving to areas. Somebody's going to start a roofing company tomorrow, and then they're going to be like, oh, I don't want to do this. I'm going to start drywall the next day. So you just got to kind of find your niche and stick with it.
I guess somebody that's maybe in their early 20s, fresh out of college, and they're trying to find their niche. What suggestion would you give them? What advice? We talked earlier, just you got to find something and stick with it, go with your gut. But what could you give in that initial decision making
In
process,
the
when
construction or just in general?
just in general in life?
Try to explore what you think you would like, whether it's construction or social media or riding a bike or skydiving. Just, you're like, oh, this is cool. Do some research for a couple hours. Like, what does this involve? How do I make money doing this? What training do I need to complete this? Like, you can't just go service a HVAC unit. Never looking at an HVAC unit in your life. You need some classes, some hours, some YouTube videos. Certification that you know what you're doing. Versus, you want to go make TikToks riding a bike. Anybody can do that, but unless you're good enough to do it, like, nobody's gonna watch. So then you have to spend time riding a bike. You have to spend time doing tricks. Whatever you want to do. So whatever you decide you want to give it a shot, do some research, see if it's something you'd be interested in. Take a look at it. Um, try it for a little bit. If you're like, this sucks, I don't want to do this, try the next thing. Obviously, if you're just hopping back and forth, you might have to find a part-time job to cover your bills, or live with your parents, live with your friends, something to support you along the way. But if you really want to make a career shift or you're looking for the career that you want to start, the only thing you can do is try certain stuff, try everything that you think you might want to do, and some will stick. So you'll like something eventually.
Is it worth chasing your dreams?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Why do you say that?
I mean, I'd rather not just stare at a wall and wake up, work 9 to 5, go back to sleep every day. I'd rather have a passion for what I'm doing, wake up, have a smile on my face, do the job to my best of my ability, not like, oh, I want to be here. I have to flip burgers again today. Now some people love flipping burgers. They'll go start a restaurant. Look at Five Guys. Franchises sold out around the country. You can't buy anymore because somebody had a vision of making burgers and they turned it into their passion, and here we are. That
Very
doesn't
good.
happen unless you have a dream.
Yeah. Talk to us about Five Guys.
I worked there for a year and a half.
How was it? What did you learn
Mm.
working there? What could you tell someone that maybe is working what they think is a base service industry job? And what kind of experience did you gain out of that? What kind of perspective did you gain out of that? And what could you tell someone that's currently in that situation right now?
Just wake up every day, trying to learn how to do whatever craft that is, like whether you're flipping the burgers or frying the fries or cutting the potatoes, whatever you're doing, do it with a way where, you know, you can tell that you did it with a passion, with a goal in mind, not just, I'm here to be here for, ringing out people on the cash register, like have a smile on your face. It's a as my friend once said, it's a stepping stone, not a set in stone.
Mm, mm,
So, it's not a permanent rock. You can always move it, make the next step. So you can use it to make money. You can use it to craft, uh, craft the perfect burger. Learn how to make the nice look like the nice burger. Oh, I don't like how they do it. Let me try a different way, and then now you go start your own burger restaurant. So it's not all about just a job, waking up, going home, waking up, going home. You can always learn from the management there. You can be like, oh, I don't like how that manager treats me. I like how this manager treats me, or look at how much passion this person has working. How come I'm not doing that? It's like, well, why are you here? Are you here just for the money? Or, and if you are, find a different job. Or if you want to learn how to be a better manager or how to be a better coworker, or how to, you want to learn the operation side of it, how much products you have to order, or what temperature to keep the freezer at, or not freezer because they don't have freezers. My bad, Five Guys. Refrigerator at, so all the stuff doesn't go bad. You can always learn that. Ask questions, read the manuals, talk to your managers. Be like, how can I step into a management role, or what do I need to do to get promoted so I can learn, so I can be the next version of myself. So it's all about getting to the next step, and learning what you need to do to make yourself the next better person of the career you want to chase or the dream that you have. And it might not be in the same field, but you can still take aspects from everything that you do, and apply it to whatever you're doing next.
whatever you do,
Mm-hmm.
do it unto the Lord. That's all the way that I like to look at things. Me and you both are Christ followers, so I always like to look at it regardless if you are on the highest pedestal in life where everyone can see you, or if you're in the back room stirring the sauce. Everything that you do, you got to do it with the best capability and the best possibility, because um,
It doesn't matter if you think nobody's watching. There's always somebody watching.
exactly. And I always like to think of it too as well, that if you can't be trusted in being diligent in the small things, you know, how can you expect yourself that you're gonna, when you get to the big levels, the big leagues or whatever you have in your mind, that you're gonna be able to operate and be at that same type of level?
If I can't give you $5 and have you use it wisely, why would I give you $500?
Exactly. Um, Final closing thought, final closing, I guess, story or kind of moment that you could share. Name me one situation in life that you came into expecting one result, or you came into with an expectation of doing a certain thing, and things just went a completely different direction.
I mean, me pursuing a medical career and here we are building houses. Like, I don't think it gets more opposite than that. And I'm not saying building houses for the rest of my life, but you know, I might go back to medicine. Who knows? But for now, I'm building houses. It's been so far so good. So we're gonna keep it moving. You can always look in the past, be like, why didn't I like that, or why didn't I do that, and just learn from it. And if you go back, you go back. I mean, who cares what they think? You're living your own life, not somebody else's life. So try not to look at you can take the advice of people, but don't let it dictate your life, because it's ultimately your life. If you don't wake up, having a passion for something, or chasing what you want to do, then why do you care what your father's brother's mother's sister thinks?
Mm, that's really good. All right, Paul, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been awesome having a conversation. Guys, this is just episode 1 of Standing on Business. We're going to continue this. We're going to continue talking with thought leaders, business owners, business managers, people in the thought space, and just learning more about how to be a business person, how to create business, how to grow business, and just how to stand on business. So, guys, just keep following us. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. But thanks for joining us. Thank you, Paul, again.
It's about that mogul mindset, baby.
Amen.